Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel, the channel you need to learn all the professional workflows. Today, we are learning how to design this Instagram social media design. Let's roll the intro. Hey guys, welcome back. For those who don't know me, my name is Hassan and I'm a senior graphic designer, and this channel is dedicated for the beginners and midweight designers to learn all professional workflows and techniques that are used by professionals in the industry in everyday work. I see everyday tutorials and videos of techniques that halfway good and not used by professionals to save time and work effectively and efficiently. So, I thought to share the techniques I have learned over the years. All that said, and without further ado, let's start our lesson for today. First of all, let's open Photoshop. Okay, this is the final image. Let's start. Let's create new document by holding Ctrl plus N. Okay, now we want in the width to be 1080 pixels. Same for the height. Resolution would be 72 pixels per inch for anything that will be displayed on a screen. The color mode would be RGB, and let's hit create. Okay, first of all, let's open the main subject image here. Okay, let's choose it, right click, open with Adobe Photoshop, whatever version you have now. Let's click on this icon to remove it. Now in this quick actions in the properties panel, if you can't find it, you go to window, search for properties panel, and now let's choose remove background. Now it have done a good or very good job. Now we don't see any white fringe or any unmasked areas. This is a good masking. Now let's convert this image to smart object by right clicking on this empty area next to the layer. Convert to smart object. Okay, let's wait for it to load. Press Ctrl plus C to copy it. Return to the main document, Ctrl plus V to paste. Hold Ctrl plus T for free transform. Hold Alt and choose whatever corner you want and drag to scale it down. Yes, scale it down more. I think this size is good, maybe a little bit smaller. Okay, now let's add the mobile phone or the cell phone. Let's open the folder again. Those assets will be in the description. I will upload those in the description and give you the link to the assets. Double click on the cell phone. Now we have this group. Let's copy it, Ctrl plus C, go back to the original file, Ctrl plus V, Ctrl plus T to free transform, hold Alt and drag to scale it. Press enter to place it. Open the folders. Okay, you will have two groups like this. Okay, shadows and object. Now let's select the object, Ctrl plus T for transform, rotate it a bit, maybe rotate it again. I think this is a good position. Maybe scale it up a bit. Okay, I think this is good. Hit enter. Maybe scale the main subject down a bit. Yes, I think this is much better. Okay, now let's add the background. Okay, add this new filter, solid color. Okay, let's hit Control plus to zoom in. Choose a color closer to the main subject t-shirt. Hit OK, then Ctrl plus 0 to view the full image. Okay, now let's add a new layer above the solid color layer. D for brush tool, hold Alt and right mouse button, click and drag to make it bigger. Yes, I think this is a good size. Let's just choose a color closer to the color of the background, hold Alt to have the eyedropper tool, click, it's chosen right here in the foreground color. Double click on this, make it a little bit lighter, yes, and hit OK, and hit OK. Now let's have opacity 100% and flow 100% and give it one stroke. Maybe increase the size a bit, again one stroke, maybe again one stroke. Okay, let's double click on the foreground layer, make it a little bit lighter like this. Okay, and let's add a new layer, make the brush smaller. Yes, I think this is good. Maybe another layer, choose a lighter layer, press OK, add another layer, make the brush smaller and hit one stroke. Yes, I think this is good. Let's choose this layer and group them. Choose the first layer, hold shift, choose the last layer, Ctrl plus G to group the layers. Double click on the name to name it. Let's call it background. Hit enter. Okay, now what we are going to do next, let's check the image. Okay, let's add the headline. Let's click T for type tool or choose this icon here. One click, write headline. Okay, let's change the font to font I use called Babas Noya, Babas. Yes, let's choose the bold. Okay, Ctrl plus T for transform, make it bigger. Let's change the color of the text right here. Let's choose full white or straight white. Okay, now we want to put this text in perspective of the cell phone. How we can determine the perspective of the cell phone? Let's try this. Okay, let's press U for the shape tool, choose the line tool, click and drag. Okay, now you will have this panel, appearance panel. Fill, choose none. In the stroke, choose darker color so you can see it any color you want. Make the stroke 5 pixels. Now let's hit enter. Again, let's create a new one from the other side. Click plus drag to match the edge of the cell phone. Now we have this. Now let's match this text to this perspective. Choose the text layer. First of all, let's convert it to smart object by right clicking on this empty area next to the layer. Convert to smart object, Ctrl plus T for transform. Hold Ctrl and choose this corner and drag it down like this. Okay, yes. Now let's hold Ctrl and this icon, drag it like this. Okay, let's hold Ctrl and this icon, drag it like this to match with the perspective. Now you are free to experiment to match it however you want, but I think this is looking good. Let's press enter. Hide the line layers from the eye icon next to the layer. Yes, what do you think, guys? I think it is matching the perspective. Maybe a little bit tweaking. Ctrl plus T for transform, hold Ctrl and drag this down a bit. Yes, I think this is much better. Okay, and you can read it, headline, it's readable. Okay, now let's add some detailed text here. Let's press T to type tool, click and drag like this. We'll have this text. Okay, let's make it a little bit smaller. V for move tool, drag it down here. I think we can give it a dark gray color. Yes, something like this. Okay, let's convert this layer to smart object layer so we can free transform it. Right click, convert to smart object, Ctrl plus T for transform, and again hold Ctrl and drag it up. Okay, and drag it like this. Yes, I think this is good. Ctrl plus T again, tweak it a little bit. Yes, I think this is good. Okay, now let's go to the next step. What is the next step, guys? Let's add some details to the background. Okay, let's choose the background group, choose file from the top menu, place embedded. Let's choose this texture here. Okay, again guys, those assets will be linked in the description, so download and follow along with me. Scale it by holding Alt and choose any corner and scale it up to scale it from the center. Enter, change the blending mode to soft light. Okay, now hit Ctrl+L to open the levels panel. Will show up like this. Let's increase the blacks. Okay, I think this is good. I think this is good. Press OK. Now I like it here. I like it here and I like it here, but I don't like it how much it is interfering with the main subject. So let's create a mask layer by clicking this icon. B for brush tool. Let's brush some of this layer away. Yes, I think this is good. Okay, now let's add another texture. File, place embedded, choose the other texture. Okay, let's scale it, rotate it to match the angle of this. Okay, I think this is cool. Okay, move it to the corner, press enter. Now we want this layer to be white, not black. How we can do this? By holding Ctrl+I to invert the colors of the image. Okay, let's change the blending mode to soft light, and I think this is good. Hold Alt to the layer and drag, click and drag to duplicate the layer. Okay, I think this is good again. Hold Alt again and click and drag. Ctrl+T for transform, choose any corner to rotate this. Don't forget to match the angle. Hold enter. Yes, I think this is working pretty fine. Now let's make the illusion of that this area is visible and this area is not visible. How we can do this? Okay, first of all, let's move the main subject layer above the phone. Okay, let's add a mask layer to it. Open the object group, choose this layer, hold Control, click this icon. Okay, now choose the mask layer of the main subject. Now we want the foreground to be black. Hold Alt plus backspace, Ctrl+D to deselect. Okay, now it is looking good. Okay, now we have the illusion that this is in the back of the cell phone. Now we want this to be in front on the cell phone. How we can do this? By clicking the mask layer, B for brush tool, make the opacity 100%, make the brush smaller, and we want the foreground color to be white. Let's choose white, press OK and brush. Yes, I think this is very good, and we have the illusion that this part of the main subject body is in front of the phone, but this is in the back. Okay, now let's add some shadows to this area to emphasize the feeling of it is in front of the phone. Let's create a new layer, hold Alt and click to have a clipping mask. B for brush tool, make the brush smaller. Let's reduce the opacity, maybe 5% this time. Let's choose the color by holding Alt and choose a color closer to its trousers. Double click on the color. Let's choose a darker tone, press OK, change the blending mode to multiply, and let's start brushing. Maybe one last step, right click and increase the hardness, maybe around 50%, and let's brush. Yes, I think this is looking good, and I think it is emphasizing that there is some contact between those two layers. Okay, now Ctrl+0 to view the full visual, unhide the layer to see the effect before and after. Maybe the shadows are too harsh. What we can do about it, let's convert it to smart object by right clicking on this empty area, convert to smart object, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Okay, I think 5 is okay. Let's see before and after from the eye icon next to the smart filter mask. Yes, I think this is good. Now guys, let's add the shadows to the main subject. Choose the main subject layer by holding Ctrl and click on the main subject. Photoshop will choose automatically the main subject layer, but make sure this auto select here at the top left corner is unchecked. Okay, now what we can do, let's create a new empty layer below the main subject layer by holding Ctrl and place this plus icon. B for brush tool, make it a little bit bigger by holding Alt and right mouse button to scale it up. Make the opacity 100%. Choose a color similar to the background by holding Alt to have the eyedropper tool. Click once. Double click on the foreground layer. Let's choose a darker color. Again, let's have one stroke. Okay, now its hardness is too much. Let's right click. Okay, reduce the hardness to 0. Again, one stroke, Ctrl+T full transform, right click, choose perspective and drag this corner like this. Enter to place the changes, Ctrl+T again and move it. Hold shift and choose this corner and drag it down, it like this. V for move tool, move it like this underneath the foot of the main subject. Now let's change the blending mode to multiply, reduce the opacity to maybe around 50%. Okay, this leg is done. Let's add the other leg. Now this will be a little bit harder and a new technique for you to learn this day. Let's add a new solid color. Okay, I think this color is good. Press OK, change the blending mode to multiply, choose the mask layer, Ctrl+I to invert it to black. Okay, B for brush tool, make it smaller. Yes. Now let's create the direct contact shadow. Already we have this piece, but we want to add some. B for brush tool, make it smaller. Yes, I think this size is good. Let's make the opacity 5% and the flow 30%. Hold enter, right click, make the hardness around 50%. Choose the white color in the background. Okay, and let's start brushing. Okay, now I think the opacity is a little bit low. Let's increase it, make it 10% and start brushing again. Okay, yes, I think we are going in the right direction. Now let's add the part at the end. Okay, I think this is good. Let's choose the area directly under its foot. Okay, to add the direct contact shadow. Ctrl+0 to view the full visual. Let's check before and after. Yes, I think this is good. Now let's add another layer to add the casted shadow. Let's duplicate this layer, hold Alt, click and drag, choose the mask layer. Okay, we want it to be full black. How we can do this? Press D for the default color here in the foreground and background. Okay, let's hold Control and backspace. Now it is all black, nothing white here. B for brush tool, the opacity make it 5%, right click, make the hardness 0%. Okay, increase the size of the brush. Now let's start brushing. Okay, now we are adding the shadows of the foot. Now press X to switch between black and white to add or remove from the mask layer. This technique, guys, will save you much time. Okay, I think maybe a little bit darker here and a little bit lighter here. And now, guys, we can add and remove from the mask layer however we want. Ctrl+0 to view the full visual. Okay, let's see before and after. Maybe reduce the opacity a bit. Okay, I think this is good. Maybe remove some of the mask, increase the opacity to 10% and choose black color in the foreground, and let's start brushing. Yes, I think this is much better. Okay, guys, let's see before and after. Yes, I think this is much better. Let's remove these two layers and give back. Yes, I think this is making the visual more realistic and give the main subject some ground to stand on. Okay, guys, let's move to the next step. Now let's add some details to the visual. Press T for the text tool. Okay, your logo. Okay, you can now place your logo whatever you want here at the top left of the visual. Change the color of the text to white. Now let's add some details here and there. Okay, click and drag with the type tool. Yes, I think this is good. Maybe change the font this time. Let's choose a British standard text or font, which is Helvetica. Okay, now I think this is good. Okay, let's choose any corner and scale it. Move it to the bottom right corner. Press OK. Now we are all set up. Let's add another layer of detail. How we can do this? We want to add some grain to the texture and some vignetting. What is vignetting? To be the corner of the layout to be darker than the middle. It is already like this, but let's take it to the next step. How we can do this? Let's create a new solid color. Choose this to be what's important here. Choose the gray color, and what's important to be the brightness 50%. Press OK. Let's convert it to smart object by right clicking next to the layer. Convert to smart object. Hold Ctrl+Shift+A to open the camera raw filter. Let's add some grain, maybe around 8 or 10 is good. Let's add some vignetting from the effect panel here. Okay, let's press OK. Now it's not visible. This layer is the only visible, and what is below is not visible. So how we can do this? We can change the blending mode to soft light and overlay. Okay, in those specific two blending modes, what is gray will not be visible. So this is important. Let's check what is overlay looks like. Let's see before and after. Yes, it is a little bit of change, but it is much better. Now, guys, tell me what you think, guys, of this. Please, if you like this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any thoughts about this content, if you have anything specific in mind, please don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comment section down below. And thank you for your time. See you next time. Bye bye.